here with my very first Breaking Bad Season 3 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am and rewatching or watching Breaking Bad, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case and you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And for those of you that are wondering, I've seen this show many times, so join me on the journey of rewatching and watching this show and discussing it in the comments section. With that in mind, this will be Breaking Bad Season 3, Episode 1. The title of this episode is called No Mas. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start off the season with a bunch of people crawling, and then a car pulls up to the crawling people. It's the cousins, Marco and Liano Salamanca, dressed in nice suits. They join in on the crawling. They crawl to like this little hut-ish place where there's like a shrine, and they add a picture of Heisenberg to the shrine. And now we have breaking news about the crashed aircraft. The crash was caused by improper air traffic controlling, a mention of Jane Margulis' death, of course, highlighting Jane's dad, and Walt's lighting matches and throwing them into the swimming pool. And then Walt puts his cash on the grill and lights it on fire. And then decides, no, I don't want this to light on fire. Uses his hands to try to put it out. And then dumps the grill into the pool. And then jumps into the pool himself as his robe caught on fire from trying to pat down the cash that was on the grill. Skyler is talking to a lawyer about divorcing Walt. She doesn't want any assets, really. She just wants to be divorced. And then Walt is cleaning out the pool and also finds the eyeball from the stuffed animal from the crash. Hank comes over and he's there to help Walt move out. And then they're packing stuff into the cars. And Hank picks up the duffel bag full of Walt's cash and asks Walt, what's in there? And Walt says, $500,000 in cash. And Hank laughs and puts the duffel bag in the vehicle. Jesse's learning about self-acceptance from the rehab center. Walt calls the house to give his new contact information. Junior's really mad that nobody is telling him jack shit no more. Just wants a ride to school. He ignores Skyler, telling him she'll take him to school. Like, I'll take you to school. Like, I don't want a ride from you. And then Walt is at home, his new place, and he makes a sandwich. And then Walt also cuts the edges off like he did in Season 1 of Breaking Bad for Crazy 8. And then Walt's back to work at the school, and they're gathered in the gymnasium to speak about the crash and the victims. Carmen suggests that Walt speak. Welcome back. It's so good to have you back. And Walt talks about nobody on the ground was hurt. So it's only the 53rd worst plane crash disaster. Walt talks about people moving on, and we survive and overcome. Carmen eventually takes the microphone away from Walt as he's just kind of downplaying this tragic event. And keep in mind that this tragic event is mainly because of Walter White, because of what he did to Jane by not saving her and what happened to Donald Margulis. Walt is essentially kind of responsible for this. Not officially, but he caused Donald Margulis to have all this issues and grief and just out of it. And yeah, so Walt's like downplaying this and compartmentalizing this tragic event that he's kind of behind, but not really behind, but he kind of has a hand in it. Yeah, it's crazy. The cousins, Liano and Marco, get a new outfit from a family for new clothes. They leave. They want new clothes to kind of blend in, so they leave their suits and they leave the key to the car in the car. So that's a hell of a trade-off. Some shitty clothes for some nice clothes and a nice car. Shit, I'll take that any day. Walt drops Junior off at school. Tells Skyler, "Why do you got to do this?" Or wait, I did. That's not what I thought. Walt drops Junior off at home And then Junior tells Skylar, why do you got to do this? Why can't you just talk even? And then Marie wants Skylar to tell her what it is that Walt did. And then we have a campfire at the rehab center for Jesse. And the group leader asks Jesse what's going on. Let us in on it. And then Jesse questions the group leader, did you really ever hurt someone? And he tells Jesse he killed his daughter. It was on his birthday. He was high on cocaine and drunk. How do you not hate yourself? Jesse asks him. And then he says self-hatred / guilt, it accompanies nothing, or it accomplishes nothing. It just stands in the way, and he just tries to live every day and, be positive, even though what he did was bad. Skylar actually stops by Walt's place. Is this a good time to talk? She asks. And then she hands Walt the divorce papers. And he tells Skylar, I'm happily married. I love you and would do anything for you. And she says, you're a drug dealer. And then Walt, doesn't answer it at first. Then Skylar, puts more pieces together and, says stuff. And Walt's like, well, I'm a manufacturer of methamphetamine. And Skylar says that she'll make a deal with him. She won't tell anybody what he does, or won't tell Hank if he grants her the divorce. And Walt's just not happy about this. So Walt ends up picking Jesse up from the rehab center, and Jesse's like, your windshield's broke. And then Walt takes him to his place and says, the couch is yours. And Saul has your money when you're better. And Jesse says, I'm better. I'm done using. And then Jesse mentions the airplane crash, and Jane's dad, Donald Margolis, caused it. And then Walt, again, compartmentalizes and downplays everything and says he blames the government for the plane crash. And Jesse says it's all about accepting who you are. I'm the bad guy. And after this happens, Walt goes to Los Porros Hermanos, and Gus Fring has an offer for him. Walt tells him he owes him the courtesy of telling him to his face in person, I'm done. Walt says he's not a criminal, and Gus would still like Walt to hear his offer. And he says, $3 million for 3 months of his time. Then out. I have more money than I can spend, Walt says. What I want is my family. The answer is still no. And then we see the Salamanca cousins, Leono and Marco, which at the moment I don't know which one is which. Even though I've seen the show many times, I think it was easier to tell in Better Call Saul. But they're getting transported over the border, and then they decide to kill everyone in the hay truck, or whatever you want to call it, and also shoot the driver who was actually running away. And then they shoot the tank of the vehicle after they put a cigarette by it, and then the hay truck explodes, ending the episode. So, an okay episode for Season 3 premiere. Not the best premiere. I'm going to give it an 8.1 out of 10, and then my male character of the episode is going to be Walter Hartwell White. He's amazing in this. And then you got to kind of give it to Skylar, because female characters were kind of limited. Skylar, Marie, Holly, if you want to include Holly. So I'm going to give Skylar and Walt the characters of the episode. And okay stuff. Obviously, we know where things go from here. This is like the peak Breaking Bad. Season 3, Season 4, and even Season 5. So you've heard what I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you are a fan of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, or El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please consider Hulk smashing that like button. It really does go a long way. Even 5 more likes a video certainly help out the channel a lot. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Breaking Bad. What would you score the episode? What would you rate the episode? However you want to do it. Who's your favorite character of this episode? Male, female, or just pick one. That's fine. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. Subscribe to the channel as you're watching anyway. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.